Hello, we meet again along the bending road. Remember, no matter where you go in life, two things are for certain. One, you will eventually come to a bend in the road. And two, God will always see you through. If you're watching on YouTube, would you hit that thumbs up button? You can also click the subscribe button so that you will know when I upload my next video. In this way, we work together to encourage each other as we travel life and navigate the bends in our road. Good morning and welcome back to the Bending Road. Another week has gone by and I hope your week went smoothly, but I know the reality of that, right? Sometimes we think that everything looks fine, we don't have a lot of appointments, or we have some time to take care of some things that we want to do, and then bam, something happens and that bend hits in our road and things are not what we thought they were going to be. It happens. If you had a smooth week, I am glad you did. I hope your week coming forward will be as smooth sailing as the last one. I've been thinking a lot about that submersible and the people that were in that vehicle that went down to see the Titanic. It was an adventure, you know. I love a good adventure. I'm not sure I would do that one. That pretty confined space, but I would love to see the Titanic. If I felt it was absolutely safe, I would love to go down there. I would love to do something like snorkeling, even in shallow water, but I don't know. It just doesn't always feel safe to me. I like to be safe. But what struck me about that event was a comment on social media. And before we knew what had happened, before the submersible imploded, people were speculating, what are they doing down there? Now, they've got to know there's a problem, right? They know there's a problem. We're assuming they know there is a problem. They may have been running out of oxygen. They don't know how long they can be down there. They don't know if anybody knows where they are. They can't communicate. We don't know the extent of what they knew in those last moments. But somebody commented, they're probably fighting down there for the last piece of food, or whose fault this was, or what happened. And I thought, I really hope that if these are their last moments of life, not knowing how long it would be, minutes, hours, maybe a day, I don't think that they would be fighting. I just don't think in our last moments that that's what's on our mind. Whose fault, or who's to blame, or who gets the last snack bar in the backpack. I don't think so. I hope not. Life is so incredibly important. A while back, I did a video that talked about 8 minutes and a journal entry that I did in reflecting on an airplane that went down, that crashed. And these people knew they had about 8 minutes and their life was going to be over. And if I had 8 minutes left, what would I do? What would I think about in my last 8 minutes? I journaled that and I shared it with you. This was a while back. I'll link that video here at the end as kind of a next up video. And it's a really powerful thing to just spend a few times and think, if I only had a few minutes left, what would I think about? On top of that, I also found that in the news and on social media, people were arguing about whether or not this was a way to spend these people's money. Now, I guess it costs $250,000 a person. I could be wrong on that. If I am, feel free to correct me. But it costs some amount of money. I would say some significant amount of money to have this adventure. And people were talking about the foolishness of spending their money that way. But I guess that's not my business. That's not my call. I don't agree on how other people spend their money. They may not agree on how I spend my money. But I don't think, as these people are dying, that that's what our focus should be on. I found that real foolishness, frankly. The reality is life is a gift. We have, and I say this all the time, we have one body, we have one life, we have one opportunity to live as God calls us to live. And did God think that human life was important? Well, he certainly did. First of all, in Genesis 1, it tells us that God created human beings in his own image. After creating everything else, he decides to create humanity in his own image. He puts his image in them. He wants them to be part of him, in relationship with him, like him. God thought humans were important. In Genesis 2, it says that God breathed into man the breath of life. He gave him his own breath. He didn't do that for the animals. He formed them and he called them forth from the earth. Not man. No, he created us and he put his breath in us. Humanity was important. In the Psalms, Psalm 139, it says that God formed us and knew us in the womb before we were even born. The moment of conception, a human being is formed. And God knows that human being. God has named that human. Psalm 139, starting at verse 13, says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body, and all my days ordained for me were written in your book, before one of them came into being." Wow. God has a plan for us. In Ephesians, it tells us that we were created for a good work. That good work was planned in advance. God says, I've got this good work. Let's make a Jenny. Let's make a Judy. Let's make a Dave. Let's make a Sam. Let's make a person to fulfill this good work. Wow. You have purpose in life. Jeremiah says that God appointed us before we were born. And then in Exodus, God commanded us not to murder. Murder was a big deal. And throughout the commandments, if you harm another individual, if you murder somebody, if you harm a woman and they lose that baby inside of them, that's considered murder. It had penalties. Human life was super important to God. God knows who's going to be born and when they're going to die. That's in God's plan, not ours. So I think as we think about this submersible, these people who wanted to go down and have this adventure to see the Titanic, our focus shouldn't be whether or not that's the right activity to be doing, or how much money they spent on it and whether or not that was foolish, or what they were doing in those last moments. No, I think our focus should be, those were human lives that were lost. And that should sadden our hearts. Even though God knew the moment that they got into that submersible that that's what was going to happen. And God had a plan for that. Those were human lives. And we should also reflect on the fact that we don't know how much time we have left. We don't know that we're going to make it through this day. We don't know how our end is going to come. We don't know if we are going to live to the day where the trumpet blows and Christ comes back and takes his church home and we're going to be raptured with the church. We don't know that. Or if we're going to die in some other way. Either way, we're going to meet Jesus. And the question is, are you ready? My biggest prayer is that before those people got in that submersible, that they made amends with those other family members, friends, acquaintances. They made the amends they needed to make so that there would be no regrets. My prayer also is that they made amends with God before that moment came and that submersible imploded, and in a moment their life was over. I pray that they made amends with God and that we will see them again someday. We will meet them someday. Not see them again. Most of us don't know them. But they will be seen again at the feet of Jesus, the heavenly realms, in the next life. I want to encourage you. If you need to make amends with others, do it now. I've seen families who lose a loved one who dies with regrets. Don't let that happen. Make amends while you have time. And second, set things right with God. Have that relationship with God through Jesus Christ. It's the only way. Through Jesus, through the blood of Christ, you have relationship with God. Do that now, while you have breath in your lungs, while you have a moment, while you still have life. I hope I have encouraged you. I hope that the bends in your road in this coming week are smooth. But I hope too that you know that God will take your hand and walk with you through every bend in your road. You are not alone. Have a great week. I'll see you next week on the Bending Road.
I am so glad you joined me this week. Let's work together along this journey. Connect with me on social media or on my website at bendingroad.weebly.com. Let me know how I can pray for you as you navigate the bends in your road. And I pray that when you see the bend in your road, you won't be afraid, but you will take the hand of God and keep walking. You are not alone.